It's top of the hour, and it's time for Making a Difference. On this show, we explore people in our community and the difference that they make in other people's lives. I'm your host, CJ Metcalfe. Recently, on my shows, I have been bringing to you people who volunteer their time and work with organizations that make a difference in our lives in the community here. And this can it stems out into many different aspects of life. Today, I have one of my favorite people as a guest on our show. He is very much a veteran and very veteran oriented in the work that he does to this day. I would like to introduce to you Brigadier General Anthony Bell of the United States Air Force. Welcome aboard, Bud.
Well, thank you, CJ.
Is it okay if I call you Bud?
Oh, please.
Yeah, Brigadier General gets my teeth.
Yeah,
That's a that's a lot to say.
I used to be.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. Let's give a little history of you and your time in the service. What did you do? What years were you in? And your rank that well, obviously that you exited as.
Well, I started as a young, dumb second lieutenant, which is redundant. Graduated from Duquesne University through their ROTC program, and I got married and commissioned and on active duty all in about 2.5 months. Left Pittsburgh in a snowstorm for Biloxi, Mississippi, and by the time we got there, the flowers were in bloom, and it seemed like we just gone from the frigid tundra down to heaven in about 2 days travel. But started school there, and it was a difficult school. It was a very technically oriented school, and I was not stupid, but I had to work hard to make sure that I could get the material and graduate. That all happened in about 10 months, and first assignment then up to North Carolina as in a communications squadron, and I was the maintenance officer. The mission there was to keep the 82nd Airborne fully jump qualified in case they had to go somewhere in a hurry. Did that for about 2 years and volunteered to go to a remote location in Alaska to be a detachment commander. Had about 50 folks working for me there, and provided support for 2 F-4s on combat alert on the runway at Galena Airport. And their mission was to, if the Russians came over the North Pole, we're going to go up and identify them, shoot down as many as they could. Left that and went to Germany and Wiesbaden, which is a beautiful town, and Kaiserslautern. And while I was there, I learned to speak a little German, appreciate their culture, and the way they saw the world and that kind of stuff. And again, I was on a staff there, and a communications maintenance staff, and was the headquarters for all of Europe. So it was European communications area. Yeah. Left there, went to Italy. Became squadron commander of a mountaintop communications station just outside of Naples, about 6,000 feet altitude. And on a good day, I could see into the Gulf of Naples from up there. We operated what they call a mainline tropo, which is all the command and control circuits for South Europe went through that installation. A pretty important job, and when things weren't working properly, you got a lot of attention. Did that for 2 years. Proud to tell you that unit won an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award while I was there. From there, I went up to Rome, New York. It's like being back in Alaska almost. And was an executive officer to a brigadier general. Was there for about 18 months, and then went to San Antonio. Took command of a comm squadron at Randolph Air Force Base. And after that, went to school for 6 months, and then back to the Pentagon, and had the opportunity to. I want to highlight this because I think it was important to me at the time, and it remains important today. As a colonel, I was in Saudi Arabia when Khobar Towers was attacked, and I can tell you that is the worst day of my Air Force career. 12 young airmen died. The backstory, which wasn't publicized so much, was about 200 were wounded seriously from flying glass. Well, I was there. I had the opportunity to go out to the Carl Vinson. I was aboard Carl Vinson for about about 10 days. And I came off of that cruiser thinking I had taken my commission in the wrong service. Those young men and women, 5,000 aboard an aircraft carrier, are absolutely amazing in what they can accomplish. When it goes well, it's a ballet. And when it doesn't go well, it's ugly, really ugly. We were launching fully combat loaded F-14s off of that ship. All the pins were pulled and all the weapons were hot. And they were flying over Iraq at the time, and their job was to make sure Saddam Hussein didn't come out of hiding and start heading south. Saddam Hussein is not stupid, so he didn't do that. So we had to recover those F-14s that were fully combat loaded aboard that aircraft carrier. That's dangerous. That's really dangerous. But those young people, they did a great job. Really good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed. Okay, so you were in charge of communication, training, and teaching, correct?
Yeah, that pretty well covers it.
What years did you serve, Bud?
From 1971 to 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, 30
Thank
years,
you.
8 months.
Thank you very, very much for serving during that time. Now, I would like to elaborate on the fact that not only has Brigadier General Bell served an amazing career in the Air Force, but he has brought out of the Air Force his skills and knowledge and training to continue on in volunteer work in our community. He does it on his own as he's an excellent speaker at many events he has spoken at. And then he also volunteers his time with various organizations dealing with veterans, concerning veterans. But I'd like for you to elaborate on some of the organizations that you are a part of.
Okay. Well, understand my focus now is children and veterans. Okay, so most of the things that I'm involved with revolve around those two areas. I'm on the board of directors of the Vietnam Wall of Southwest Florida. I've been on their board for 4 years. I was a Memorial Day speaker up at Gulf Pines, which is north of Inglewood. I been on the board of directors at Elks Lodge 2606. I was 3 years on the board. Today I'm just a member, but I am the chairman of their scholarship committee and the chairman of their veterans committee. And so in spite of COVID, when the lodge had to be closed for several months this past year with no money coming in, but still bills to pay going on, with all that, that lodge was still able to raise $15,000 for scholarships in Charlotte County. And we convened a board, and the board identified the people. We awarded the money, and I actually had a chance to go to the ceremony, the graduation ceremony for one of the schools. Amazing effort. The Elks Lodge, the membership there really supports the scholarship program. Veterans Committee. Historically, what we have done there is we have gone up to Jacobson Memorial Home up in Inglewood. I get poor Charlotte, and did once a month, and we went up there and did karaoke. And we'd bring all the equipment, set it up. We'd sing. The direction there was, if you can't sing well, sing loud. And had a good time doing that. Tear the equipment down, take it. And then once a month, we would also have the veterans down to the Elks Lodge, as many as they could put on their bus, which was like 10 or 12, and give them lunch and sit them out there on the lanai at the back and let them just, get away from the home for a while. And that was well also.
One of the things I'd like to inject here, I am the area representative for Help Heal Veterans, which is they're free craft products that we give out to veterans. They're therapy crafts, if you want to call them that, but it's something for them to do with their hands, be productive, give them as gifts and things like that. And in my supplies that I receive to pass out, the Elks have donated quite a bit of money to help heal veterans because it comes out in these craft kits in moccasins and wallets, and I see the Elks logo stamped on the product itself. So that's there's people, they hear of the Elks, but they don't know everything that they do. And you, Bud, are doing two of the very most important things that I have found in the Elks, which is the scholarships and the veteran work. Uh, just kudos to you. Bravo, bravo, bravo. I can't pat you on the back enough. Now, something else I would like to talk about is here in Punta Gorda, we have a replica of the Vietnam Wall. On there, the stone is the same stone that's made in Washington D.C. All the names are engraved on there. Now it is up; it is there. And when you say that you're on the Vietnam Wall Committee board, what is involved now that it's up? What is there to talk about after it was opened up for the public? What do you have to do? What are some of the things that you have to maintain with it?
Well, it's it's what we would say constant care and feeding. There's materials out there that once exposed to the environment for a long period of time need to be replaced or at least restored. There's so and there's that all costs money. I mean, so there's a funding. We have a funding drive and all that to try to raise money to keep for the upkeep and the maintenance of it. Then there's other things that looking forward that we know we're going to have to do. For example, they just created a Space Force, which means that there's another flag that has to be installed over at Lashley Park. And believe me, those flagpoles are really, really, really tall, which makes them really, really, really expensive. So there's always a little bit more to do. We have brass plaques along the honor wall there. There are 24 that I know of for sure, and then there's a couple more. Over time, they tarnish, and so you have to have a way to keep them clean, current, and shiny. So it's not that the work there is done. It's not. And it will continue to require some level of support.
Let's let's elaborate on that other flag that needs to go up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's going to be. It has to match the other four, so it's going to be number 5. We
What
have
branch of service?
a Space Force. Space Force.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Anyway, we have we're soliciting folks to get a contract to get that pole installed, and again, it'll cost some money, but we need to do that.
Well, I know the city is involved with the wall, that they help in different aspects of it. Can you talk about how much the city gives you support on maintaining that wall?
Sure, and they do. The city, for example, on the flagpole, the installation of the new flagpole, the city did the engineering design of what had to be done and the impact on the land and all that kind of stuff. So and that's a pretty big deal actually. It's several $1,000s in kind. And we do get good support from the city. The mayor and the city council are pro-vet, and so far, all my experience with them has been great.
That's awesome. That is just totally awesome. Okay, let's talk about some of the other committees and things that you're involved with. I know that you're on the Charlotte County Veterans Council, and you want to talk about a little bit about what they do?
Sure, but first, I'd like to talk to you about another thing that I do, and then we'll get back to that. But I'm a mentor with Take Stock in Children, and Take Stock in Children is a great program in the state of Florida, managed very well in Charlotte County by some very professional people. And the program is that they identify students who are at risk, and that could be for a number of reasons. You know, family situation. That's the majority of it. And they assign them a full-time mentor. And I've been doing this for 7 years. And I had my first mentee. I was with him for 4 years. I can tell you that he is now in law school. And the program is amazing. He graduated from FSW Collegiate High School. He graduated high school with an associate's degree, got a scholarship to go to FGCU, did well there, came out and said, I want to be a lawyer. And he's now at Berry College up in Orlando. And he's in his second year, and he'll graduate in another year. The second student that I've been with him 3 years. He's a high school senior this year, and he will graduate. And hopefully he'll graduate with an associate's degree and get a scholarship. If he doesn't get the associate's degree, he can still qualify for a scholarship through this program. So I've spent a lot of time on this, but it's one of the most worthwhile things that I think I do.
Thank you so much. Now, but if some of our listeners know of children that are in need of a program like this, how would they look into it?
Well, stock in children. And so what you would do is there's application forms available, but I would recommend that you go through one of the high school guidance counselors. Both FSW and Charlotte High School have counselors, and I'm sure Port Charlotte does also. So you might want to start there. But it is a statewide program, and like I say, it's changing the lives of students who are borderline maybe, and making sure that they stay on the right path.
And what specific program would they ask for?
It's called Take Stock in Children. It's a scholarship program.
That's so amazing. Also, General Bell is an excellent speaker. I know in the past I have seen him speak at the Wounded American Veteran event. It's called WAVE, and that's done by the area yacht clubs. And veterans who are 30% or more disabled are encouraged to come, and people in the Charlotte County area will supply their boats. And the veterans come, they're fed a continental breakfast, they go out on the boats, and then they come back. And Bud has spoken at a couple of those events, and very motivational, very sincere, and he gains a lot of respect. So anybody listening out there, if you're interested in maybe having Bud speak at an event or an organization of yours, you can send me an email at cjkdwradio at gmail.com, and I will get the information to Bud, since he is not a like on a website or representing any specific organization. After having him on the show here, I would be more than happy to refer him, anybody that's wanting him to speak. But let's talk about some future projects here. What have you got up your sleeve coming up?
Well, there's, now that the pandemic's over, life will be getting back to normal, and there's some plans going on for some Veterans Day parades, as you know. I stay busy through the Elks, trying to help young men and women with the scholarships. One of the other things I do, CJ, is I actually sit on a board that's convened by a congressman. And he gets applications for young men and women who want to go to the military academies. And so he has a board of people, and I am on that board. And so we go through the records, and then we personally interview And then based upon that, we make a recommendation to him as, now it's a her. We make a recommendation on whether or not the individual ought to be awarded a scholarship to go to one of the service military academies. That is very difficult because most of these young people that are submitting applications for something like that are top students, scholars, quarterback of the football team. That's, that quality of person. And so it's very difficult to say, this is number one and this is number two. It's very, very difficult. But the congressman does a good job getting quotas for people. And so we award, 8 to 10 scholarships every year there.
Tell me about, now, some people refer to this as an appointment
Mm-hmm.
to a military academy.
That's exactly what it is. It's a congressional appointment.
And tell me also, when people seek out appointment by the congressman, what is expected of them once they are accepted to the military academy? Let's wind the show up with that.
All right. The selection period is over. They've been nominated. They show up at the military academy. They start plebe week or hell week, whatever you want to call it. And then academically, the academies are very difficult too. And so they enter in, and it's a 4-year program, and lots of structure to it. You are part of a team. They teach you early that you will fail by yourself, and you need to be part of a team. And then you bond with that year group, and you go through together, and you graduate, and you get a commission in the armed forces.
Now, I ask all the listeners, is this not just a lot of information from a wonderful man who knows he's got his fingers in so many things, and things that are so important to the community? And Bud, you are a person who definitely makes a difference in our community. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the time and effort that you spend reaching out and helping people around us. You would have the option of sitting on the couch and letting your arteries get clogged, but but instead you're active and
you're frozen. Marie, CJ went away.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm sorry. CJ, you're frozen, and I can edit where she comes back into the show. Thank you so much, Bud. And I'm sorry I don't have makeup on and that. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming on and listening to CJ's show. And Bud, thank you, Brigadier General. Thank you so much for being on CJ's show. See you all next week, Making a Difference.